everyone, welcome to our Citizens Crime Watch podcast. This month, what is it? October, Crime Prevention Month. So what better place to have our podcast this month than at the Florida Crime Prevention Association conference. So we are here this week, your staff is here this week, learning some great stuff, some great crime prevention information to take back to you and the community. But before we get to our special guest, and let me tell you, this man is a man of knowledge, okay? But before we get to that, how about we take a little behind the scenes look at what's going on this week here in Lake Buena Vista at the Florida Crime Prevention Conference. Come on. Go right ahead. Hey everyone, welcome back from our little guided tour that you got earlier, or got to see the little behind the scenes of our Florida Crime Prevention Association conference, where we happen to be, as I mentioned earlier. And we are privileged during this month's podcast to have, he always laughs when I call him this, the god of CPTED, but Art Hushen. He is a man full of knowledge when it comes to this and when it comes to crime prevention. I always tell him he's kind of one of my mentors. I've learned so much from him over the years and be able to apply it and bring it back to the community and stuff like that. But you know, welcome, Art. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I know you guys are busy this week, but any chance to talk about CPTED, I want to do it.
Awesome, awesome. So real quick, like I said, I know you as my mentor in the CPTED world, but if you want to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and background and stuff like that.
You got it. My name is Art Hushen. Started the National Institute of Crime Prevention back in 1999. Prior to that, I was with the Tampa, Florida Police Department, where we started a CPTED unit, one of the first of its kind in the country, where we began to codify CPTED at a city level. The success was so good with that next thing you know, we had the state, FCPTI, talk about, well, let's look at more components to that. And we put together curriculum as part of the training and testing. And Florida is one of the, or is the only state that has a CPTED designation. So in my travels, I always talk about what Florida's doing. Now with the designation here, I managed to take it out under our company umbrella, the National Institute of Crime Prevention, where we do CPTED training in the other 49 states and leave Florida here with what they have. We started the U.S. CPTED Association, which we're excited about. We bring in practitioners from around North America, the U.S. to be part of it, and that ties right into the Florida Design on Crime Association, which is based here. They have a table set up here as well, and it just brings practitioners together to promote CPTED. And that's what it's all about: community safety, community initiatives, cost-effective ways of combating crime, and CPTED is the most cost-effective way of doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. So you know, he's like the alphabet of all the organizations that we belong to. You know, I got the mix in there too: FCPA, U.S. CPTED. I'm a proud member of U.S. CPTED, FCTPI. So it's a lot of little acronyms, but in the end, like you said, it's a bunch of organizations. We're able to bring all of us together to collaborate and be able to take this back and try to make a positive impact in crime prevention.
Yeah, and again, it's the most cost-effective. What I like about CPTED is that it doesn't have to be administrators, it's residents, it's community members, it's people that use a park. They all have input on safety, and it's rare you see a tool that you can use that encompasses everyone. Whether it's going to be, if I'm looking at multifamily, a renter of the property, the management group, people that are visiting, kids that are playing, again, they all have input on how to design the space in such a way that encourages, a new term we're using now is community self-policing, where people police themselves because they're not enough police. There's not enough police.
And that's why Crime Watch, that's why we're so into this, and we get so into it because Crime Watch, you know, our motto, eyes and ears of the community. But let's backtrack real quick a minute, because I'm always one of these that do this, you know. And us cops, we always ex-cops. We're never really out of it. We always use the acronyms and throw out codes and stuff like that. So we've been throwing around the word CPTED. What exactly CPTED? What does it stand for?
CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. Now, people think just because we say crime prevention, it's a police program. It's not. You know, it started early on here in Florida, out of Florida State University. A professor by the name of C. Ray Jeffrey came up with this concept of CPTED. And he began looking at how you design the total environment. So from your neighborhood to your park, how do you build it in such a way that allows people to take ownership, allows them to see what's taking place around them, and makes it harder for offenders or people looking to commit a crime to come in and do that. It's just good strategies, community building that makes this work. And the success, we've got the numbers, the research, from Michigan State to University of Florida to USF to Texas A&M, showing that CPTED works. And people just have a hard time embracing it because it's kind of a scary thing when you hear it. Crime prevention through environmental design, do I even get involved with that? But once they understand the foundation, they're like, this is easy. This is common sense. You know, why are we doing more of this? Why isn't my city doing more, my county? And once they realize they have that tool, the sky's the limit. Then they can do whatever they want to with it.
Well, one of the things that I've always, I thought so highly of CPTED, or the concept of CPTED is, I guess, the multifaceted approach that you can take. One, from working with architects, and I know we have a lot of architects that are involved in our organizations and stuff. So from the planning aspect, which is one of the important things with CPTED, is getting in the beginning and planning for a safer community or a safer property, you know, a safer building, a safer school, whatever it is, and applying those principles, which we'll get to in a minute. But it's also something that you don't have to worry about too much. After the fact, you can apply them as well. You can maybe tweak things here and there to apply those same strategies and be able to do it. And it's not just oh man, what are we going to do? You know, we got this building here. We can't do anything now. There's things we can do to it.
We can do now because based off that good design, we call it the fundamental of good design. From that, as you said, we could tweak it. So we have a new crime trend that's occurring. We can tweak that current design to address it. It's not rebuilding the whole site. It's maybe adding a mirror. It's maybe adding a different component, what we call an activity generator outside to bring more eyes to the space. And this is all nothing more than just law enforcement, crime watch groups, again, working with that builder, the designer, or the management group, say, here's a few changes that you can tweak, just like you said, because it's the most cost-effective way, and have an impact on crime. And it's just that common sense. Well, no one's out here looking. Well, let's put some tables. Let's have this as a common area we share to bring more eyes out. Well, what did it cost me? A table. So again,
exactly. Maybe moving this entrance, instead of this being your entrance, this being your entrance.
Oh, exactly.
Something simple as that.
Something simple. And people don't see that.
They don't see that. And that's one of the things I've seen. Like when I go out and I'll do a CPTED survey or something like that. You know, they get that fear. Like you said, there's a bit of fear in the title. Oh my God, environmental design. Does that mean I gotta like tear down my building and build? No. All you gotta do a little change. You know, it could be as simple as changing a light bulb from, you know, incandescent to LED.
That's
you know, you've right there, boom. You know, you got better color rendition, stuff like that. So something as simple as that, and that's CPTED.
And that's where groups like Florida Crime Prevention Association, groups like Florida Design Out Crime, they have the people that are talented and have that skill set to work directly with community members to say, hey, look, let's make these simple changes that you can do and tell your friends about. And people see that, they're like, I can do this, I can do this. And you're like, yes. Next thing you know, they're calling their county commissioners, they're calling city council, can we work on the park? You know, can we work on our neighborhood street now? And then you have public health that jumps in and says, hey, let's create safe streets so people can walk, people can go to the park. You know, and now they say we can light up the park. And then again, our professionals go in, let's look at these lights. Let's look at this. And we bring the invisible, we make it visible.
Exactly.
So you can see the threat.
And I like what you just said, because you're able to bring in a lot of people. You know, I know we talk about art, using art, not Art the man, because we do use Art the man, but actual art is one of the things that we use to facilitate crime prevention, to how we use it to change things and bring eyes to the street, to bring you know, a different perspective, and that's one of the important things. So that's a whole new group of people that we're bringing into crime prevention. You know,
who would have thought? And again, I go back to when we first started doing this, because you've been in it a long time too. who would have ever thought using public art as a crime prevention strategy?
I never would have thought about it.
A lot of us would never thought. And now we see Homeland Security using public art as a terror mitigation strategy. The most exciting one was we did a workshop in Indianapolis where on the weekends we'd go up and do training. We team up an architect with a police officer, and then we team up a artist with a police officer, and they'd go in the field, say, let's add artwork here, let's add artwork there, and then the community would review it and sign off on it. So now you got artists, architects, law enforcement, community members adding artwork, adding murals that reflect the vision of the community, which creates the ownership, which less opportunity for crime.
It's crazy. You would never, like you said, you never would have thought that you can pull that kid that's got an art degree out here and say, hey, come here, help me prevent some crime.
I know.
And the ideas they come. Actually, I saw you posted a picture the other day. That one blew me away. It was on your Facebook page or one of your social media sites, but it was the corner building that it was like 2 blank walls. And you had somebody come in here. They had somebody come in there and paint it. And it looked like a whole brand new building had been built. And all it was the perspective of the art. It's amazing. So if you're a bad guy and you're driving by, goes, I ain't gonna tackle that. Look at all those windows.
Look at all the windows.
Those are all those people are gonna see me what I'm doing. Instead of it being a little dead ambush corner or something like that.
We find people take over, they graffiti it, tag it.
That's another thing. Yeah, and we've talked about that quality of life issues. And it goes back. We go back here. We've talked about broken window theory. You get the one thing, so you get the graffiti. Now you got the graffiti. Now you got the guys hanging out, and now they got them doing the drug, and before you know it, violent crime is up. So
and it doesn't stop.
And all it took was some guy painting a couple windows on a blank wall, to make it look
common sense.
Exactly.
Common sense again, and we see so much value in that, and then the community respects the art. Because it's done by local artists. So there's that pride that goes into that. And who touched our wall? Then the community rallies together. Should the police get involved? No, we'll take care of it. We'll paint it again. This is our space. We take care of our space.
Ownership.
And again, it frees up police to do
always. That's always a key thing. When you can establish ownership, it's that idea of that abandoned building or that abandoned thing that'll create and draw more crime in. Real quick, if you can touch on, just to give them a little bit of idea, because obviously we don't have the 2 weeks here to train everybody on our podcast and to become CPTED practitioners or professionals, but just so they give them an idea of stuff like that. I know we have the basic principles.
Right.
What would we be looking at in basic principles of CPTED?
And when I give the basic principles, people look at it and go, seriously, you can stop crime with that? The first one is natural surveillance, the ability to see what's taking place around you. And take that to the next step. Can I see where my kids are playing? Can I see my neighbors if they need help? Can I wave to my friends to invite them over? That is all part of natural surveillance community building. The next one is going to be territorial reinforcement. That shows ownership. Someone takes responsibility for the park. Someone takes responsibility for their home, for their property, and lets offenders know, or potential offenders, that belongs to someone. I'm not going to go and tag that because someone's taking ownership. Then you have natural access control. How do I guide you into the park? How do I guide you into my building, my multifamily unit? And so we only use good design, not target hardening, just good design, because we want people to feel comfortable using the space. And the last one that you mentioned, broken window theory, comes back to maintenance. That ownership, just making sure your lights work, making sure someone trims the lawn, someone brings in the garbage can, someone picks up the mail. And again, that maintenance shows that someone's taking responsibility. When all those come together in this perfect scenario under CPTED, offenders are less likely to target that space. They'll go someone else, but the 4 principles have to be there.
Yeah, they have to be there. One of my humble opinions, I always love when I teach or I do that, I definitely cover all of them, but you don't know how much I harp on maintenance. To me, I think maintenance is one of the most important. And it's simple, even when you're doing a survey and you go out there and you're like, it's funny because I've gone out and I start walking. I go, okay, oh great, they got spotlights, they got this, they got motion sensors, and then we go inside, and then we come back out and it's gotten a little bit darker, and the lights, why aren't the lights on? So I bring the guy back out and I go, hey, your lights aren't working. Maybe the bulb's burnt out. And I'm like, dude,
fix it.
Change the bulb. That's the whole reason you got the spotlight out there, is change the bulb. They don't have the bulb out, or like you said, cutting the grass, fences. Okay, they'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars on fencing, and then they just let it go, and you got cuts and breaks and
the ownership tagging on it.
That's it. Yeah,
and that surveillance that you said with the lighting, because you can have all these great windows on your building just off good design. So to have natural surveillance at nighttime, you need the light. And when you don't have the bulb fixed, you lose your natural surveillance.
Right.
So the whole strategy you tried to create, you lost because now it's nighttime.
Yeah,
so that blending and make sure the light works.
They're all important. I personally always harp on maintenance because, and that's funny is because, like you said, you get all these, when you get them to buy into the ideal, and they're like, this is great, and give the design, and they build and they change and they do all this and stuff, and then you go back a year later and it's like, okay, you haven't done it, you haven't fixed anything, nothing's going on, the broken camera, this is great, but you got to make it work. So, but it's very important.
And the maintenance too, just to give you another example, we were doing a series of workshops up in Durham, North Carolina. It was just city park planners, just park designers. We all have them in our cities. We had them do assessments of parks, and we looked at 10 parks. And when they came back to present or talk about it, we asked them how many issues in your park could have been addressed with a good maintenance plan. Not cameras, not more police, but a maintenance plan. The largest number we got was 85%. Wow. 85%. Not bring more police, not more cameras, just take care of your property. Take care of your park. And that is just huge. And that's why we harp on maintenance. It's so important, it's so inexpensive, and it's a great way to deal with crime.
Exactly. It is. It's 100%. And it's a great way to go from having a safe space to a problem space.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't maintain it. So that's awesome. So hopefully make sure you go get some training, sign up for Art's, one of Art's multiple alphabetical groups and stuff like that, because he does provide some great training. And we'll provide those links in our description for his organization, NICP, and US CPTED Association and stuff like that, because definitely some great training out there. I highly recommend it. Again, my mentor when it comes to CPTED. I had always heard about it in my crime prevention life, and one day I sat in this man's class and I went, well, it's like the light bulb went on. I go, man, this stuff really works. It's great. So before we wrap up today, one of the things I see if you can talk to us about that's really important, there's been the rumblings been going on in the crime prevention world in the last few months, is this new House bill that's coming out that involves CPTED, and why it's so important, and why, I mean, I think CPTED is the future of crime prevention. And I think our Florida lawmakers are started to see this and are starting to push this out there. If you can talk to us about the new House bill that recently has passed.
The House bill was a big eye-opener. No one was expecting it to come out. And it mainly dealt with premise liability, if we look at it that way in its true form. But what is done by this program, it has created safer apartment living or multifamily. So the big one is having your basic CPTED assessment done of the property, and the governor's requiring that by that statute, the bill number, and having practitioners, again, groups that you and I work with, to go out and actually do the assessments of the properties to make sure they're in compliance with the standards that in law enforcement we all take that training. Once that property owner has met those minimum standards, there's a security component that goes into that. You know, how you lock your door, the kind of locking device you have, the type of lighting you have for your parking lot, cameras for safety and security, including those as well. Looking at peepholes on the doors, locks for your windows, things that a management group might not consider. By creating that bill, it's going to help create a safer environment for those living there if we follow those minimum standards. But for the management group, it limits the liability on the site, which is going to bring a huge saving in values to everybody that lives in apartment units. So again, it's going to be there, the value, and it's going to be mandated by the state.
All right. Wow, that's very interesting. So it is going to be important, and we encourage any of our listeners and watchers out there that are involved in law enforcement, that you go to your command staff and really petition if you're not certified in this, because it is going to be a big demand that's going to be on law enforcement.
Huge demand.
It's going to be a big eye-opener for these agencies that don't have CPTED certified individuals when these mandates start coming out. And it's going to be a mandate. Eventually it's going to be a mandate.
2025, it's got to be going and done.
So it's going to get to the point where they're going to go to, you know, that phone's going to be ringing off the hook, and they're going to say, we need these assessments done yesterday. And we're like, okay, well, the one guy that did it just retired, so we'll get back to you.
How do we catch up?
Yeah, so we need to, it's going to be prepared for this in the future and stuff like that. So, Art, thank you very much.
Oh, Joe, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
On the bottom of my heart, my friend. I always enjoy our time together when we sit. I love to sit and talk with you, and we always talk. And I love when I get a chance to sit in your classes, because I always learn something new. Even after all these years, you always bring something new to the table. Keep keep it going, you know. Keep doing it for us. We thank you for being out there and being a pioneer when it comes to CPTED and crime prevention. You truly are, and I know I was joking earlier, but I do. You are a mentor to me when it comes to that. So I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you've done for us and for the world of crime prevention.
And I appreciate what you're doing too. Again, what you're doing in South Florida, and with the state, the association.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And definitely continue partnerships as long as we can make it work. So
thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us out here. What better place to be for Crime Prevention Month than out here with our Florida Crime Prevention Association Conference. Hopefully we learned something here today, and we look forward to seeing you next month. And remember, crime prevention starts with you.